Hey everyone, welcome back. As you can tell, I am still in Alabama. However, it is Sunday night. The tournament is over. I'm flying home on Monday or tomorrow for you guys, probably yesterday. So it's going to be a long day of travel. Haven't seen the family since Wednesday night, so probably won't get a chance to record on my normal night of Monday. So I'm recording it now. But before we get on with the shave, I want to remind everybody that this video is brought to you in part by Grown Man Shave. For a 10% discount, go to Grown Man Shave and put in code The Traveling Shaver. That'll give you 10% off your entire purchase. Now, for the shave this evening, since I am still on the road and I brought it with me, I'm going to go with Barrister and Mann's Diamond. I did use this once before I was here. I used Eigengrau once or twice. My wife can't stand the scents, so when I was packing my stuff to come to Alabama, she said, "Take the soaps that stink. Take the soaps that stink." I cannot talk. It has been a long weekend, but a very fun weekend. Now the brush I'm using is Hendrix Classics and Company Black Synthetic. So as I mentioned, the tournament has concluded. Mostly it was done yesterday. There was one person left that still needed to shoot his rounds of knockdowns. So knockdowns, you have various size targets at 20 meters, or for those that don't know metric, it is at 33 feet. Various sizes that go 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 points value. And as the point value goes up, the size decreases, obviously. So there were 2 rounds of that, or 3 rounds of knockdowns. There were 2 sizes of each size target. So in reality, it's like shooting about like 8 rounds. No, 6 rounds of knockdowns. Then there's a woods course that consisted of 40 targets, varying distances and sizes. And a 20 meter shot. I don't know how many did that shot, or how many that took. I didn't actually compete at the tournament. I showed up, I helped keep score for some people. I shot the woods course about 1.5 times. I've walked it 2.5 times. Shot some of the knockdowns just for fun when people were practicing and just goofing off in the pavilion to shoot, and spent a lot of time at the practice course just shooting and goofing off. No, the razor is the IBC. So the person who picked me up at the airport on Thursday has already gone home, as have most people. But luckily, the guy who organizes this tournament lives in this town, and he has offered to take me to the airport tomorrow. So he actually works real close to the Birmingham airport. So he's taking me to the airport in the morning. I fly home. And then go to work on Tuesday. Now, even though I didn't compete, I'm not a super serious competitive shooter. Mostly because I haven't had the time to dedicate practicing. Because when you're in a hotel, you can't practice at 10 meters. Ammo's expensive, or ammo is heavy and expensive, or hard to take with you on a plane. So I haven't been shooting seriously since really I started shooting slingshots about 10 or so years ago, however long ago that was. But now, that I am home and traveling significantly less than I have been in the past, I may start shooting a little bit more, take it a little bit more seriously. When I'm home, I have my catch box set up so I can shoot in that and reuse the ammo. The only problem is it's not at tournament height. So I'm shooting at targets that are about the size of the 10-meter target or the 10 point, maybe even the 6 or the 8. So I'm shooting at that size target, but it's not at the height where the target normally sits. So I might need to make something so I can put up, and I have tournament style targets or knockdowns that I need to build something where I can put a magnet on it and place them on so I can hit it and knock them down. And I might work on that this year. Because shooting a target that's roughly that big from 10 meters, it's a good feeling. The woods, of course, was a lot of fun. Hard as I'll get out this weekend as well. And there's some targets that were just super small, about 20 meters away, and it was hard. And some targets were not only out there a ways, they were evil. For example, one of them, the very last target, was a Roadrunner. And it's a silhouette of the Roadrunner. So you had the tail, the body, the head, the eyes, the mouth, it was all cut out on the Roadrunner. So you either had to hit the body, the tail, or part of the head. It was a very difficult target to shoot. There's a UFO, and this is Mr. and Mrs. Bigfoot. There was a carrot, broccoli, and a tiny little frog, and a lot of really cool targets. Just a lot of fun. Walked around the first time. I wasn't planning on shooting. I went with some friends that were shooting it for score, and I went and I shot with them. After I'd already walked it once, keeping score for other friends, then I went and walked it. They were shooting for score, and one of the guys that I walked with the first time, he had the clipboard, so the paper for the other two guys who were shooting for score, then he just wrote down my score on the clipboard because I didn't have my paper. So I know what I would have scored had I turned it in. And it would have been the bottom. Bottom 5. Which, I live in suburban hell. I can't really do a woods course very easily, so. The second time I walked in and was shooting, I saw significantly better in the first half. I think I missed one target. But I shot a different frame. Sorry, frame is just another name for slingshot. I shot a different slingshot than I shot when I walked it for, not even for score, but when I was shooting the whole thing. And the bands I shoot are fairly narrow compared to most other people. My bands are about 13 millimeters wide, straight, and about 13 inches long is when I cut them. Then of course you have about 1/4 of an inch or 3/4 of an inch I mark and fold over to make the bands or put the pouch on it. So I think by the time I actually attach the bands to the slingshot, they're about full 12 inches long. And then I pull back and, I hold the slingshot out here and I pull back to right about here. So I have a fairly long draw when I shoot. and I shoot 3/8 inch steel balls. And the first year I did that, I had a hard time getting the ammo to go more than 10 meters consistently. But this year, I did better than I did the last one, the woods course. This woods course was a lot harder. Than when it came in 2019. But the slingshot I shot the second time, the fork width as far as on the slingshot itself was about the same width as where I normally shoot my bands or cut my bands. So it was a little over 13, so it just burned over a little bit. I just detached those, I'd pull back, and all I had was my band was perfectly sized with the fork, or where you attach the rubber to the slingshot. So I had nothing to distract me. The other ones, the fork is like this long, and then I put your bands in the center and try to figure out where that is. And black bands on a black frame, and you're pulling back, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes where the rubber is or the latex. So it made it a little bit harder to see. So it wasn't always easy to tell or to get a reference on where I should be putting my reference point on the slingshot. So that made it a little difficult. And then woods courses, because you're shooting at different elevations, different sizes, different distances. Woods course is hard. And like I said, I can't practice woods course very well. So I haven't really shot anything like that since the last tournament I was in Alabama in 2019. So there are guys out there that from all over the East Coast, like Virginia, Michigan, Ohio. And those guys live out in the country or close by where they could just go and shoot different distances, and that's what they can do. They all shot a lot better than I did. Not that I wasn't there to compete, I wasn't doing it seriously, I was just there to have fun, goof off, and see friends. Which I did, and thoroughly loved it. I'm already looking forward to the next one next year. So this one is traditionally the last one of the tournament season. The first one is next year, I think, is in North Carolina, I believe. In April, there's one in Tennessee in May. And there's one, the biggest one's in Pennsylvania, and that'll be in June. June or July, I can't remember. I think it's in July. And then this one that's in Alabama is actually moving to Georgia next year. Because we're at a place called Horsepins 40, which is a place that does bouldering and circulating water. So it's a nice little area. There's a lot of tourists. The guy that owns the place is kind of a crotchety old man. So the guys that kind of upkeep it, security for the place, have to follow his rules, and he's a crotchety old man. They were kind of giving some of our group grief, saying, "No, you can't park here. Who has this car?" And so it wasn't very enjoyable for a lot of people that were staying there. So next year will be somewhere else. There's a guy that came this year that has like a 70-acre farm that we'll be shooting at. So I don't know if I'll make it to that one. Probably gonna make it to Tennessee again next year, because that one's not a tournament, it's just a lot of people having fun shooting together and goofing off. But I enjoy that one. Probably because hopefully one of my closest friends that lives in Tennessee will make it. That's the plan anyway. The guy who organizes that one is also in Tennessee and a good friend of mine. All right, so we're gonna finish off, did my cold water rinse. I have some There's Witch Hazel in this little travel atomizer. Always go through a lot more of that when I'm on the road because I spray it versus just putting it in my hand. And then I have the 2nd gen atomizer that has some Barbas Classic spray in there, or aftershave. Great shave. The Barrister and Mann, it's good stuff. Surprisingly, Diamond did not smell horrible this time. So I quite enjoyed it. Diamond in the Excelsior base, not bad. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch y'all next time.